Hi everyone, this is Yuki. Today I will be doing a playthrough of the first scenario in the base game of Commands and Colors Napoleonics, Roliça 1. So yeah, let's get to it. So first let's look at the board. So this is a 5 victory points game, and the British side has 6 command cards, and the French side has 5, and the British player goes first. So first, let's see what we have. So based on the setup, you can see that the British side is probably the side that has um, more advantage, assuming that nothing moves, which is a pretty big assumption, but I'll explain. So the way that most Commands and Colors games work is that they usually have something that forces at least one of the players into action. Otherwise, they will be depleted to death. You see this in this game and also in other games like Mobart 44. So usually the side with more artillery is going to force the other side into action because for whatever reason, this game usually does not feature a turn limit. So even if you never move forward, there's no punishment for that. Though I know most players would try to take on the historical role just so that it's more flavorful for them. But if you're just talking about gameplay alone, as sometimes there's actually no incentive to move forward, and which is kind of a problem. But the artilleries usually are placed in a way that at least for some action. So here you can see that in the center section, the British artilleries have line of sight on several French units, and if they don't move off or do some other things, they're gonna continuously get planked and depleted. And also, there's a horse artillery on the British left side as well. And this one can also get into a position where they just keep attacking the French, unless they do something to change that. And on the contrary, the French only has one artillery unit. So if, like, assuming both sides are being boring and just don't want to go forward, eventually the British is going to win out. Um, so this in this scenario, the British is the side that can afford to be slower and do a more of a wait and see kind of strategy, which is probably makes absolutely no sense historically. I'm no expert on history, but just based on what's being written in the scenario blurb, it doesn't seem like that's what they're going for. But again, so for my playthrough, I try to focus more on the game mechanics, and I don't really comment on the historical aspect. So we'll just let that one go for now. So as the British player, the center part is actually very strong. It has the two artilleries. I mean, the French have the option to move forward, but uh, it's going to be really hard because moving into the range of the full strength light infantry they will be attacked by straight up 5 dice. So it's probably not a very good move just to mindlessly push forward. So the center part is probably okay for now. It depends on what the French does. And on the British right, there are these weaker Portuguese units, which can be problematic because they actually conveniently form 5 victory points. So if the French do nothing else and just attack and eliminate these 5, they can actually win the game. But it will take a little while for the French to move them to center stuff to this side. So we'll have some time to react. But usually, as a British player, I would not push too hard on this side. Again, we'll have to see what the French player does. And on the right, there's this river that needs to be crossed. It's gonna be really, really slow, but the units on this side are at least okay. So let's look at the British hand. So we have 2 cards that orders the left flank, which is over here. And then 1 card that orders center. And then there's a recon force that orders 1 in each section. And then there's the 2 special tactic cards, or whatever they call them. The ones that are section cards, basically. the leadership and the Gibnical Steel, which are both very situational for now, so we'll just talk about them a little bit later. Usually on the first turn, I try to move this light infantry unit forward to a hex that can cover an area that denies the French entry. Usually this forest hex here, because if a British light infantry does not move and fires, it's straight up 6 dice in the face, and I don't think anyone wants to get anywhere near them unless they have the appropriate cards that allows them to systematically try to get rid of it. So on the first turn, I try to just move this one over to this forest hex, which is fairly easy because he's sitting right on the line divider between the center and the left for the British, so the vast majority of the cards in the deck can order this unit here. So I think for the first turn, we'll play Recounting Force at the British. And the center, we'll use the center order to move this card. Move this unit, and then we'll move one of each in the left and right just to adjust the unit placement so the future turns get easier. So we'll order this unit. We'll order this unit and the cavalry here. So this one goes to the forest here. It's quite useful. And then on the left side, the line infantry will move to this hill. Whoops. I think I clicked a little too fast. That let me just undo this move. And this, yeah, we'll just slowly move up on the left side and then hopefully get the horse artillery in a good position to fire the French as well. And on the right side, we'll move the light cavalry. In the forest is fine. The most important part is you want the light cavalry to be 3 units away from enemy infantry, so there's always this threat of attacking, even though we're probably not going to do that now. And yeah, the forest is just a bonus here. And I think that's good enough for the British turn 1, and we'll pass the turn and go to the French player's turn. Okay, now let's look at the French player's turn. So yeah, we talked about this a little earlier, but the easiest way for the French to win, I think, is to attack the Portuguese units here. But again, we also don't want the British to just totally win on the other sections. So we have to move things appropriately. For these, for example, the objective hexes, we don't want to just exactly hand it to them either. So even though they're probably, I think most of the sessions that I played in this scenario, maybe the objectives were the 5th victory point, the very last one, or they were not at all. But sometimes it's more about the threat of people being able to take it as an option that kind of forces you to not be too sloppy on on the section that you're not completely interested in. But yeah, we'll see. So let's see what's in the French hand. So there are 2 center cards, 1 red card, 1 counterattack, which is flexible, and a forced march, which basically orders all the infantries in 1 section, make them move 2 or move 2 and not battle, or move 1 and battle. Actually, I think this is probably a good one to play now, because we do want to move our infantry, and I think most of them are in 1 section. Yeah, actually, yeah, all of them are in the center section, so we can just use this as the movement card right now to spread them out and to plan for a future turn. Oh yeah, so when you click on the card, this really cool thing, you see a little picture of the board here, and then you can just choose one of the sections, and then it'll automatically select all the units for you. Let's try this right now. So I'm going to click on the center section. Yeah, And here we go. So yeah, all of the appropriate units are selected. Yeah, so this vassal module is very awesome. I will leave a link in the description after I upload this. And there's a lot of automatic features that we'll see, especially for combat. That's really convenient, so you don't have to do all the math by yourself. But yeah, we'll show them once we get to them. Um, okay, uh, so on the right side, probably want to move the light unit over here. So we don't want to expose ourselves to the, the 6 die attack from this British light unit here. But we also want to reinforce this side, so I think it's good that we're taking town here, and yeah. So we're kind of like carving out our own areas that makes it harder for them to cross. And this one, yeah, I don't know where to move this one, because no matter what I do, it's going to be in range for this. Yeah, this is why on the first turn, it's really annoying if the British player moves this over here. So it just kind of, the little things, it kind of makes you waste an order. And these things slowly kind of adds up. This one of the things I kind of like about this game is just how the little things can add up and matter. And now this leadered line infantry, I don't know where to move this. So we'll probably just leave it here for now, or yeah, maybe once the like cavalry moves. Okay, yeah, we'll just leave it here for now. And now this side, we'll try to also move over here. So 2 hexes, 2 hexes. Maybe we won't move the light just because it's within three hexes from the enemy light cavalry. If I move this, it's gonna be not on the hill, so it'll actually get attacked. Oh no, so yeah, so I'm assuming that I'm gonna form a square. If you are forming a square on the hill or anything that decreases cavalry attack, so they actually just don't get to attack at all because the die they're gonna roll is the number of dice they're gonna roll is 0. So this is actually you're just giving it free 1 die attack against the cavalry if you're forming a square on the terrain. So I kind of want to keep that just because the light infantry is a lot more valuable than the regular light infantry. And let's see. So for this one, yeah, I guess I'll keep it over here because moving it from here to here actually make it so. Actually, let me check. Oh, yeah, actually, there's still line of sight. Oh, whatever. But you gotta take some rest, I think. Okay, anyway, the reason for this is that this can work together and move forward with the light. In case we want to take out this Portuguese light infantry later. But yeah, it's okay. It's just gonna be 1 die. I can afford to lose that. Okay, so I think this is fine for now. And then the light cavalry will just have to come around in the future turn. Okay, I think that's good. We'll just draw the command card and pass the turn. Okay, sorry about the audio quality earlier. I think the voice was cracking up for some reason. Hopefully it gets a little bit better going forward. Okay, now we're back to the British player's turn. So we see the last card that we drew with Bombard, which allows artillery units to either move 3 and not battle, or stay and battle with additional dice. Let's see, do we want to do this one right now? Yeah, see, it would have been a lot more useful if the French player did not move off the ridge. So now there's actually not that many units that are available to fire at. Well, there's this French artillery, and also one of the artilleries can reach a French line infantry. Let's see. So if we were to do this now, it would be, see, 4, 3, 2, 1. So +2. So both of these can fire at the French artillery with 3 dice each. Or one of them can do 3 against the French artillery while the other one does 3 against the French line infantry. Do I want to do this? Maybe not. Well, maybe. Well, let's just take a look at what the other cards are for now. So there's the 2 left flank cards, and eventually we do want to push forward. On this side, do we want to do this now? Maybe, maybe not, but it seems like the French player wants to attack the Portuguese units at this side, so this side is probably a little more urgent. Well, seems like I know that's kind of silly because this is a solo game. I'm actually playing both players, but just bear with me. Assuming that you do not read the mind of the other player, it quote unquote seems like the French wants to attack the site. So yeah, and it's probably better to react to the British right here. But I guess the only thing that they can do is like a potential bayonet charge from here to here, which I mean, yeah, I know what's on the other player's hand, but just, the thought process is if you didn't know, like, what are some of the possible moves they can make. Either a bayonet charge or just a regular good old moving up and going for like a 2-on-1 versus this. That's still like a reasonable number of dice, even though they're attacking to a forest. But if you make it a little harder for them by moving some of the sentry units to this area, then you're threatening them with like a standing fire with 5 dice. Or like a melee with 4, depending on where they are. So it kind of deters them a little bit, I think. As opposed to like a 2-on-1 here, which will probably get rid of 1 or 2 units from this, 1 or 2 blocks from this 3-block unit, which basically rendered this kind of useless. And then it'll most likely die in the turn after. But if you have something over here, then at least we can fight back a little bit. So I think the priority here is more on the British right side than the left, even though we have more left cards. So I'm going to use probe center, order 2 of these units so we can reinforce this side. We want to do, I want to do these 2. This one moves to the forest, and then it will be able to cover 2 hexes away from the forest. Just makes it a little harder for them to advance. So it's not like a 2-on-1 situation here. And this one we want to move it sideways so we can open up this hex. And in case we move the artillery over here, which opens up the firing line of sight against more French units, and then after that is set up, the bombard is probably going to be more valuable than it is now. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Alright, so we're going to do this, and we'll draw a card and end the turn. Okay, now we're back to the French player's turn. And let's see what we have here. So, let's look at the cards. We have 2 center cards, 1 left, 1 right, and 1 counterattack. That's actually pretty flexible. Let me just rearrange the cards real quick. So, well, the probe center would have worked if there were just the Portuguese light over here. In that case, I would actually want to just order these 2 units to push forward. That's it, because this one will be attacking at, let's see, after movement. So it'll be 2 + 1 - 1s. So that'll be 2 dice. And then this one would be Uh, one die. So it's a total of three. I mean, I don't want to go over all the calculations, but it's pretty likely that the strength of this Portuguese slide is at least going to be reduced. So, and then whatever I do next turn is definitely going to take it out. And but now that this British unit is here, it's a little harder because yeah, because it's gonna be giving a standing fire of 5. But I mean, honestly, because I can't look at both players' cards, it actually could not do that just based on the hand. But you know, for these solo playthrough runs, I try to just, you know, assume that you did not know that, and this is never like a risk I'm going to take unless after like appropriate cards that follow up and can get me out of this situation. So I'm just always going to assume that they can actually order this light infantry on the next turn, even though they actually can't. So yeah, but in a real like 2-player game, I will still not take that risk. Which is why I'm not doing that here. But obviously, if I take into the account of what the other player's card, I mean, the player's hand, no, taking into account of the cards in the other player's hand, I would like definitely do this. But then, if I were to do that, then every playthrough is going to be 5 minutes long, because yeah, there's no hidden information anymore anyway. So yeah, I'm not gonna do this right now for that reason. But let's see, what else can we do? We can move the cavalries to prepare for an attack in a later turn. I think that's a pretty good thing to do right now. And so... Oh, I actually can't order both of them because one of them is center/right and the other is left. Let's see, which one do I want to do more? Let's just do left 2. And now let's just do these 2. So this one moves up. And this will do 1, 2. On the hill or over here? Probably on the hill. I mean, obviously that cavalry is not gonna come and charge against that either way, just because it's a 3-block cavalry. By the way, the number of blocks in a cavalry unit really, really matters in this game. So, if I were a Portuguese player, I would definitely not want to deter the cavalry in that way. But either way, I mean, on the hex, it just makes more sense. Yeah. So I think this is fine. There's, and then for the next few turns, let's see. Well, it depends on what we have. We might have to do a few central orders, which will move more steps to the right and mobilize this cavalry. Maybe take a pot shot with the artillery unit. But yeah, we'll deal with that when we get there. So I'm gonna end the turn right now. Okay, now back to the British player's turn. The new card we drew was just Salt Reichsleich. I might want to save this one just because, okay, so the idea is that if you use a card as a bullet card, you kind of make it easier for your opponent if they're planning to attack on that flank anyway. So it might be better to save this. It's actually quite useful, so allow us to react on the Portuguese flank, depending on what the French player does. So if we use that now, we're just making things easier for them, or waste a pretty powerful card. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they do on this side. And see what else. Give them the cold steals, and still very situational. Kind of wish it was a better card. Leadership. Leaders are... Maybe it's not terrible, mostly because the light cavalry has a leader on it. I can move this one, and this leader needs to go somewhere, but it's probably better once I have all the leaders on something. Because otherwise it's just it's kind of suboptimal. Bombard we talked about last turn. We can try that. No, no, because what I really want to attack is um this cluster over here. I can't move and attack, and the artilleries don't actually have line of sight on these units, so maybe not. Um, okay, so I think just by process elimination, we might want to just fresher a little bit on the left. I mean, both of these cards are the same, so I'm just gonna play one of these. Or 3 units. Maybe the leader should go on something. Actually, maybe I'll put it on the artillery just because the leadership card actually doesn't care what unit the leader is on. Even though in most of the games in the Command and Conquer series, the leaders don't really affect range combat, but in this one, I mean, at least based on the wording, I mean, the way I've been playing it is that it actually does. So the leadership card kind of pays off a lot if you have it on an artillery. So I'll try to create that situation here and see how it goes. So we order this, move the infantry forward, and also the leader, and we'll try to have the horse artillery coincide on the same hex as the leader. Yeah, let's try this. So first we'll move the line infantry out of the way. River or the... Might actually do the... No, let's do the hex. I mean, no, sorry, the hill hex. I mean, the light infantry is kind of covered this part, but... yeah, I was thinking maybe, move it down a little bit to protect the artillery's new position in case they want to rush through this, but it's kind of unlikely. But now we'll see. I'm just trying to macromanage every little thing, but yeah. Okay, so this goes here. Does it have line of sight against... I guess this is okay. I think the river has a penalty, so I don't really want to go there. But this is probably going to be nothing anyway, just because the town has a pretty significant dice reduction against artillery. Or I forgot, I have to look it up. But either way, I mean, that's going to be 1 die being reduced, which, you know, no matter how big the modifier is, going to be 0. Which way do I want it to go? Oh, let's just put this here and... yeah, at the very least, it'll make it easier to order with the leadership, and then this one can keep going forward. Or maybe come from the side or whatever. Yeah, okay, let's just leave it at that. And we'll draw a card and the turn. Okay, now back to the French player's turn. Let's see. What we really want is a left section card right now, because what I want to do is to plunge this light cavalry into the Portuguese units. Here, let me just show this right now. So ideally, you want to do something like this, and then the other infantry can move up. It's like a pretty basic bread and butter way to attack infantries. So what you do is to have the light cavalry maybe force one of these infantries into squares. Or if you don't want to risk a counterattack, you can actually just park it next to them. The whole point is to like disable them, at least one of them, so that not all of them can fire back at your infantries. Because remember, when a unit is right next to a right next to an enemy unit, they can't do range attack unless they get rid of all their adjacent enemy units. So at least one of these will have to drive away the light cavalry. And remember, when the light cavalry is being attacked by the infantry, it can retire and reform, which is a pretty good odds of actually not getting hurt too badly. So it's kind of like screening for infantry to advance. And so yeah, so ideally we want a card that does that, but unfortunately we don't really have one that does this right now, so we have to play something else. But I just want to show you what, how like a basic attack works in this game. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this already, but maybe it's like a little more useful for the new players. But yeah, the bottom line is to turn off enemies' ranged attack, because that's like the biggest hurdle in this game that most people complain about when they try to advance. Like, oh, they're so strong and they're sitting and firing. Why would I want to go forward? So this is like one way to sort of get around that. This is why cavalry is so important in this game, and it's not really about chasing people down and like just kicking their asses or anything, but it's just, it's kind of coordinate with other units to make them more useful. So it's like a soft skill kind of unit. I mean, obviously toward the end you can actually chase people down, but at the beginning it's a lot more useful in its soft skills. Okay, anyway, so we had two center cards, one red card, counterattack, which would copy attack left. For us is the right, so it doesn't really work that well. Fire and hold, there's only one unit that can actually be ordered for this, the artillery here, so it's let's not use that for now. Let's see, what do we want to do? So I guess it's either center or right. What's going on the right side? So this, let's see. So the light cavalry is three taxes away from the river. So if they come in, we can react with that. So we don't necessarily need to move this one. Let's see. This, the British light infantry is pretty annoying here, but I don't know if I can really get rid of that. But then if I move forward, then the horse artillery also has line of sight. All right, let's think about this one. Okay, I guess I can play probe center just to move to from the center. I don't know. Maybe like I don't know, put the leader on something just so that it doesn't. So like a little support, but I don't know. And then maybe this one, so I can fire at something. So all these ones in the hexes are at the 1 die range, and then -1, so it's actually 0. So it's not very good. And also this one, I can't really attack, so I can most likely hurt this one right here at 1. It's better than nothing. Or do I want to move it over here, actually? Yeah, let's actually move, I think, because then it becomes a 4-3-2. Yeah. And then I can move away from one of the enemy artilleries at least. Yeah, let's actually move. Alright, I think this is fine. We're just really just waiting for a better card, or wait for the other side to play a card that we can copy with counterattack. Okay, alright, let's move on. Okay, now it's the British turn again. Yeah, sorry about the last turn. I think there was a mistake with the display where the both hands were actually showing the British player's hands, but now that should be fixed. Yeah, where the French hand is actually shown, but it's basically the same card we went over last turn. The only new card that we drew was Cavalry Charge. And then we have the first floor plus the probe center that we played. That was supposed to be shown on the last turn. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we want to do on the burst side. What the plan was. Um, yeah. So we kind of wanted to reinforce or somehow make the right side more manageable to the Portuguese units. I mean, assuming that the French players, assuming we don't know what the French player has in his hand, and this side doesn't really look so good. But it doesn't seem like we really have anything that can help on that side. I guess we can use the assault right flank to maybe like move people backward a little bit. That's also not ideal, but yeah. Yeah, I'll be more comfortable. I have two cards on that side. At least I would use one of them to reorganize how the side is set up. If I only have one, I'm a little more inclined to just say that to do a reaction kind of thing. See what else. Leadership, not really useful right now. Give them Coldstale, that card. Bombard, not really that useful. I mean, I kind of want to use like a center card to move this artillery and then use the bombard instead of using it just to move, because it's kind of a waste because I do want the extra die. So I can actually fire down this lane right here to towards this cluster. Okay. Well, the right. I mean the left. I guess the left flank cars. I can. I guess I can move down and push this way, but we do have the scout card that I can play. Actually, you know what? Let's just play this. Especially when we need card selection. This is better for if you're looking for like a specific card or cards for a specific section that you want to use. In this case, we do. It's just double your odds of getting one of the useful cards. So let's just do that. This side, I guess I'll just move the heavy cavalry that's been lagging behind. Uh, to get them together with the main group. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and yeah, I'll end the turn and see what we have. Oh, okay, this is nice. I guess relative to the center card, I do want something that can order my right, so I take the flip attack. It's pretty flexible. Okay, I think that's good enough. We'll move on to the next turn. Okay, now back to the French. Let's see. The new card that we drew last turn is Cavalry Charge. Um, this is a pretty useful card, I think, but I think it kind of works a little differently than Cavalry Charge in the other games in this series. At least in my opinion, I feel like this is one of those cards that's a little better in the late game. Because it kind of gives your damage cavalries more kind of like return them to their earlier condition for just one turn. So what I mean by that, so cavalry charge, like if you read all the text and how the terrain rules work, it seems like it's actually not that useful because I mean, if you're attacking a square, none of these bonuses actually matter because they just don't get applied. And also, if you attack someone in a town, it also doesn't apply. Which, and then it's like, so what's the point? Am I supposed to discharge artilleries with that? I mean, maybe. I mean, not really. But so the the main point is like, so the cavalries do lose attack, once from the wear and tear, right? Because when you go back and forth forcing the enemies into making squares, and you're bound to lose some blocks. And the smaller your cavalry is, or I guess the more depleted your cavalry is, the less likely that the opponent is gonna form a square. Just because they know that you're not gonna inflict that much damage. So the whole point of forming squares is to prevent like a 4 to 5 dice attack that might happen like 2 times a turn because of the whole cavalry breakthrough thing. So, and I mean, if they're like reduced, then they're not really scared of you, so they're not gonna like form a square. so they can't really function when they're on a low number of blocks. And the cavalry charge is supposed to help that a little bit, like in mid and late game. And I guess also in early game, like if you increase the attack to like a really absurd number, like 6 or whatever, then you're more likely to guarantee that they form a square. So it's not really about actually attacking with that many dice, but it's more about just scaring people into doing what you want them to do. So it's a little more subtle than like the other versions of this game. So it's kind of like a theme now. You probably have show. I mean, you probably have seen a couple of things where it's more about the threat of activation against something that forces the other player to play differently rather than just actually beating the crap out of them. So yeah, I feel like this is one of those cards that we can consider using this right now. Except only our cavalry on the left can reach an enemy unit. The one on the right. See, for this, I can sort of try to force the light infantry into a square, but I can't really go that far. Let's see how many dice will that be. So if I could get there, it's going to be 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, and 4 is minus 2 for the cavalry, so it's like 3. That's like kind of on the borderline where they want to form a square. I think if I were the other player, I would, just because 3 is pretty significant, but without the cavalry charge, it seems like, you know, if it's just 2 against the 5 block unit, I might just risk it. It doesn't really matter, because even if they retreat, I mean, even if I retreat, even the light unit retreats, the cavalry breakthrough would not allow it to battle again, just because it's the forest, and the next turn it's just gonna, like, blast the cavalry in the face. So I think there's an argument to be made to not square versus just 2 dice, and 3 is kind of iffy. So the cavalry charge actually gets you there, in terms of the mind games. So I think this is just one of those cards that lets you do cool things in the game. But yeah, just because the general principle is to make each card as efficient as possible. So I would rather have this effect on both of my cavalry units. So I think in this turn, I'm going to order this cavalry unit. Maybe with a center attack card. Just show this. Yeah, so I can move this within 3 hexes against away from the enemy units, and then maybe just use 2 other orders to do some other stuff. And then if I don't get like a card that allows me to push on the left, we can do the cavalry charge plan. Alright, let's see. So 1, and I guess I can fire the artillery at somebody now that I move it over here. I think I actually have an attack die against one of these units. We'll see. So this one. Actually, I think that's it. I don't really want to move anything else. Yeah, let's do this. So I'll just move 1 over here. You don't want to get too close. As long as you're 3 hexes away, that's fine. So you know you're going to get there. And then for this one, say 432, 432, minus, so it should be 1 die. Hell, let me show you the automatic attacking. Yeah, see, now it's calculated. Once you set up the attack correctly, this module calculates for you what the number of attack dice should be. And on the right, you see the number of 1s. I mean, obviously you should check your work and just make sure that math works out. So yeah, so then you just click on it and it'll automatically roll for you. Oh, I actually don't have the dice tray display. Let me just put that on here real quickly. Just 1 second. Here we go. Alright, let me just set it up so you can see it. Right, I think this is okay. But yeah, anyway, the one that rolled was a saber, so didn't really do anything. But we kind of did what we wanted to do, so we'll just end the turn and hope that we draw something nice. Oh yeah, we draw forward. That's pretty good. Um, okay, we'll go into more detail in the next French turn. Okay, now back to the British turn. Okay, so the new card we drew was flank attack, and this time we can actually move the Portuguese flank. So we're probably just gonna play that, just in anticipation of the side getting attacked. We'll just rearrange the units a little bit. Let's see, so the light cavalry is, from the French side, is probably gonna do some stuff over here. I mean, this is like regardless of the fact that we already know what's in the other player's head, but just based on the setup, that's still something that I want to do, just based on how this game works. So, yeah, this is like independent of the knowledge of the other player's hand. So it has nothing to do with solo mode, just so you know. Okay, so we only get 2 orders on this side. Being on this hill does not protect against the other hill. So if the cavalry gets over here to force a square, which I'm obviously going to form a square because it's like unsupported unit. So and then if I don't make it bounce with the flag, I'll get attacked with 1 die. Because I think kill to hill, even for cavalry, is that no penalty. Let's take a look. Just check real quick. Yeah, heel to hill, there's no penalty. So and the other option is to move this like Portuguese infantry in the corner up to like support it and not form a square. But I don't think I want to really do that. Regardless of the cavalry charge, it was just like 4 die attack. That's a little too much. Just even if we ignore the possibility of a cavalry breakthrough. So I'm probably not gonna do that just now. Let's see. I think it's probably better to just move these 2 units here. Just trade places. Just move them over here. So yeah, cavalry attacking to the forest, regardless, is gonna be suffer. Regardless, they're going to suffer a penalty. Well, let's just make sure I don't border this one. Okay, just to make it clear. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's just do this properly. So you want to always announce the unit you want to order first before you move them, because this is a card that orders both flanks. That's just an order on the set as well before we start moving them. Just to do it the right way. So I'm gonna move these 2. One of them over here and the other over here. I think this is fine, right? I might invite this cavalry into attacking. But actually, you know what? Let's make it a little harder for them. Let's just do it like this. So if it does want to form a square, either here or there, it'll have to come up over here, because this river is not exactly where it wants to be. Not to mention, it'll be right next to the horse artillery. Yeah, and then this light infantry can try to get into the forest somehow or whatever. Because the bottom line is you don't want them to make you form a square and have them on a hex that they want to be. So just kind of make them pick one. So I think this is fine. All right, and then so on the Portuguese side, we'll just move back a little bit to make sure the land infantry is protected by a forest, and then just try to connect the units, get some neutral support. Yeah, anticipating that the French will be attacking from this side. Yeah, and as always, hope for a better card. So yeah, so we'll end the turn, draw the card, and see what we have. Oh, that's pretty good. It's also it's another right flank card. Okay, all right, that's pretty good. Let's go to the next turn. Okay, now we're back to the French turn, and this one's probably gonna be an exciting one because of the card forward that we just drew. And this will allow us to launch like a major attack, and especially because, as you can see on the Portuguese side, we have the left and the right sort of divided by the section divider. So it's a lot more devastating if we can order both the left and the middle sections. It's also useful on the right because we can force some square for the cavalry. Yeah, so sure, I'll just play this and we'll show this. Yeah, I mean, without this one, we were gonna play the cavalry chart, but I feel like this one is probably a much better card. And mostly because we also hold counterattack in our hand, so even though we don't have anything specifically that orders the left side, whatever the other player does, we can at least have a pretty decent chance at copying something more relevant. So it's kind of like a counterattack, you know, like in the other games in the series, is more like a pretty flexible follow-up card if you want to attack something. So it's really good to have. All right, so let's use forward and order the 6 units, so 2 in each. So here, obviously, we want to use at the left, we obviously want to order the light cavalry, and then we'll order these 3 infantries. Yeah, so it's like 2 in the 2 units left, 2 in the center. That'll order these 4. They will try to push up to attack together. And then on the right, we'll order this cavalry for sure, and the light infantry. Yeah, we'll also order light infantry just so that we can shoot at something, and hopefully without getting counterattacked too much because the cavalry is there. So I'll show you how that works. So actually, let's just start on the easier side. So obviously this one we wanted to get between these 2 units. Yeah, and then we'll move this light units up the hill here. So because the cavalry is here, it's going to turn off range combat from light infantry, assuming that the cavalry stays there. So if we get a bounce flag, then that's kind of problematic. But even then, we're still firing 2 into the forest with the light infantry against the enemy light infantry. So hopefully we're not getting hit by 6 dice, or I guess 5 because of the hill. You know, hopefully we're not getting hit by the full strength. But we'll have to see how this one turns out. Okay, so on this side, on the left side, the light cavalry is going to go just plunge itself all the way in and try to force the unsupported unit to form a square. Because if they don't form a square, that's still 3 dice, and it's I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. And then because these infantries have access to the Portuguese light, so it's probably better that we leave this one to the infantry. So we want to go up, up, and up. And yeah, we'll start attacking. Alright, so once again, let's start on the right side, which is the easier side. So we're gonna attack the line infantry in the river. And auto match recalculates for us, so it's gonna be 3 because melee into the river is -1. So yeah, that's still pretty good. You know, it's reasonable for the British player to form a square. So we'll just use the square function. And yeah, it actually took away the right flank card from the British player. So Yeah, this is why like attacking first is advantageous because you always have a chance of taking away the relevant card from your opponent. I mean, this time we kind of got lucky 1 in 6, but you know. Yeah, so this game is actually, it does favor the attackers a lot of the times, even though at the beginning it doesn't feel like it's the case, and a lot of people say this game is really static, but you know, it does reward you for being a little more proactive. Okay, so now it automatically calculates the dice for you. It's supposed to be 1 from the infantry to the cavalry, but because of the river, it's actually 0, so we don't roll anything. I guess, yeah, that's it. You don't really do anything. And then for the light cavalry, it's actually not gonna roll anything either. I think, yeah, because it's attacking into a river at melee. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, it's -1. It's -1 for cavalry regardless. Yeah. Yeah, actually, in retrospect, I felt like last turn that probably, as a British player, I should have moved this to a different one, because now the light cavalry is actually screening the range attack from both of these units. But, you know, whatever, I haven't played this game in a long time. Well, I'll probably remember all the things that I used to do. Okay, now it's a good opportunity for this light infantry to attack the enemy light infantry. And the next turn, they will have to deter this light cavalry somehow, or else the light infantry cannot do a range combat. And this is kind of like how cavalry usually works, is because you want it to be the tool that you use to turn off range combat from those really deadly ranged units. So if it does want to do something like maybe attack against my light infantry, if it couldn't get rid of the light cavalry, it'll have to actually move closer to do melee, which is another option for them. But we'll deal with that on the other turn. Okay, so the calculation is automatic here. Again, so movement halves the dice, so it's 2, and then like is +1, and then -1 from the forest. Yes, and we see 2 here. So I'm just, just checking the work, but this module is really, really great. It just does that automatically for you. So you just need to click. Oh wow, okay, so it's 1 hit, and then a flag. That's very productive. So to accept the block loss, we'll just click on the same area where it says the block ×1. So we just do this. And then now it has this 1 flag, so you have to move it to make it go away. I think if you click on it, it'll just lose a block, because that's like you telling them for whatever reason it cannot retreat, so it's losing the block. But in this case, we'll have to retreat, so we'll just do this. And now now the flag is going away now. Okay, so we're down on this side. And we're moving on to the left. We'll have the light cavalry attack the Portuguese unit, which will be oh, it's actually two dice. It's not 3. I forgot, because forest is -2 for the cavalry. My bad. Let's see. So the British player will have to face an option. So 1 in 5 chance is actually going to get rid of the right flank card, which basically makes it impossible for this side to counterattack the next turn. And because this is like kind of like a borderline 2 dice attack, do you really want to form a square and risk losing that card, or do you want to actually try to just withstand this attack without losing a command card? Yeah, I think at this point the assault right flank is too important for you to lose. Yeah, these are some of the things you want to consider, just the pros and cons of forming a square. So I guess, because I thought it was going to be a 3, but it turns out to be a 2, so I might actually just accept the attack. So I'll just let the dice roll. Okay, so it's just 1 flag that's being rolled. Actually, let's see. How many squares does how many how many hexes did the Portuguese unit move? Let's just make sure. When they retreat, I think it's 1. It's the some scenarios when they represent someone else, they retreat at 2. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's just one. Okay, that's actually not bad. We'll just move here. Yeah, we didn't actually lose any blocks, so this decision to not square actually kind of paid off. And the French player, I don't really want to advance because I won't be able to attack anyway, just because on terrain entry you can't really do a bonus attack anyway. And also I want to turn off this I mean continue to be here to turn off the range attack on the light units. So we'll just have it stay over here. And then now we're going to do a ranged attack with the infantries. Let's see. So start with the unit with the fewest options. So it would be the one on the leftmost because it only has one target. Not just like a general principle. We'll probably go over that a little later. But you don't want something to waste an attack order just because someone else with more options got rid of it for him. But so this one attacking into this, I think it's just gonna be one die. Yeah. So yeah, so after movement is 2, 4 is -1, so it's just gonna be 1. So we'll roll the die here. And it's a saber, so it gets nothing. And let's see. I think the standing fire from the line infantry is actually gonna be more devastating. Let's just allocate more dice to this guy with the light infantry. I think it's gonna be 2. Yeah, as opposed to the 1, but I don't know. So, yeah, so the light Portuguese will fire at 4, I think. Yeah, 3 plus 1, but this one will do at 5. But, in general, you want to just, like, make them lose a couple blocks so the counterattack isn't so backbreaking. So we'll just try to do that. So light infantry against the British line infantry at 2, so roll. I just one hit. Alright, that's not bad. We'll accept. And then this last one, it's just gonna be one die. So this one's gonna fire for, they're both gonna fire for. So which one I wanna do? Oh, just attack the light. Just switch things up a little bit. So one die. It's a flag. Yeah, I can actually ignore the flag because it's supported, so for the flag with the green number on it, I figured it's, yeah, if you click on it, it just ignores it. So yeah, it worked out. Yeah, so we'll move on to the British player's turn. We'll draw the card and end. And we have Bombard, which is not very useful, but yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next turn. Okay, now let's try to counter attack as the British. So because we decided not to square, we didn't risk losing the attack left flank card. So we're just gonna sorry, assault right flank card. That's what I meant. Yeah, the right and left are always switched up, but yeah. So we'll just use this one to mobilize the Portuguese side. Order all the units on the side. Let's see. I want to use one of the infantries to deter this cavalry so that my light infantry can shoot at least one of these 3 really threatening infantries that are closing in. And how do I want to do that? I can attack the cavalry with my own cavalry, but that's like not really a guarantee that I'm gonna make it move, I think. It cannot evade, it has to take it, but then it's not really giving it an option to retire and reformed. If I attack with the light infantry with 4 dice, it's more likely to drive it away, so I mean it's more reasonable for the other player to move away with. I mean, the more dice you're rolling, the more likely to be retire and reformed. So I think that's gonna be gonna have more influence on that decision. So what I want to do is to move this over here. I think, yeah, let's move it over here, and that way, and then the light the light infantry can attack the light cavalry. We could also stand and shoot, that's also 4. Which doesn't give them the option to retry and reform, and this is actually useful in some situations where you actually just want to eliminate the unit. But in this case, it's a little better in my opinion to actually threaten them with a melee attack, because once you hit let's see, melee attack you would hit on a sword. I mean, not a sword, on a saber, and if they retire reform, then they can ignore the sabers. Yeah, so that gives them more of a reason, like incentive to retire reform, because melee against cavalry, you were actually hitting 1 out of 3 chance per dice, as opposed to range attack, which is 1 in 6. So it's gonna have more influence on their decision if you really wanted to go away versus you want to just make it die. I don't know if that make any sense, but you know, we'll probably get more examples in my future playthroughs. We can probably go over that whole decision tree at a later point. So, but right now, the bottom line, want to make it go away, so that the light infantry can actually attack. All right, so that's how we want to move, and this one I also want to move up a little bit, just so that it has a little more area to retreat. If the light cavalry decides to go for this, because you know, sitting on the baseline is never really a good idea when there's cavalry around. It can't really fire because the line of sight is blocked, but we're just moving this up. Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna start with the melee combat between this and that. Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna. Well, actually, I can't attack with the light cavalry because it just entered the forest. I was just gonna say that it's probably sort of pointless if you want to like roll the 1 die, but you can't attack anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's more like for protecting my own units. So okay, anyway, so light infantry versus light cavalry. It's a 4 dice attack, and as we discussed earlier, as the French player, I would retire my 4. Shows this symbol, and then we're going to roll the 4 dice, and it'll only count the symbols. Wow, I actually got 2 hits. That's unfortunate for the French player. So we'll take 2 hits and then move back to hexes. Let's see, do I want to advance? Probably. Not right now, because I don't really have anything that guarantees in my hand that guarantees movement on the right flank. So we'll just let it sit over here. So now the range combat from the light infantry, the Portuguese light infantry, is freed up, and I'm free to attack any of these with 4 dice. And it kind of makes a little difference which one I attack. Light infantry versus light infantry. Light attacks more at range, and light infantry attacks more at melee. And just based on the French unit setup, they're probably going to want to take advantage of melee combat from the line because the +1 die. So it's probably better to shoot at a light infantry, but I think here what determines which one I'm going to hit is actually the terminal unit from a line. Just because it's unsupported, I have a chance of actually making set it back a turn. That in the long run is actually going to protect myself a little bit better. So even ignoring all that, I would still try to attack the unsupported line infantry on the right. So that's what I'm gonna do now, and hopefully I roll a flak. So yeah, this is 4 dice. So standing fire from light infantry block +1. So this is 4. We'll see what we have. Okay, it's just 1 hit miss. Yeah, we didn't really roll flat, but we got really lucky on that cavalry thing. So you can't just be too greedy, I guess. So we'll take the hit. And the British turn ends. So draw the card. And the turn, draw the card. Oh, lucky. So we drew another relevant card from the um uh a relevant card that's gonna order the right flank. Okay, and let's switch to the French side. Okay, back to the French side. So we have a couple of options. So we've been saving the counter attack for this moment. I guess we can just copy the assault right flank. And then we'll just move everybody up and continue to push. Because the right flank becomes our left flank. So it's just going to be the exact same option where the British turn player played that card. Let's see, either we can do that or we can do the fire and hold, which is another option because now that a lot of our units are standing, so they don't get the movement penalty, so this is actually gonna hurt quite a lot. Let's see, we can, if we do fire and hold, we can order these 4 units at the very least. Yeah, so these 4 are actually all gonna fire. So this one's gonna fire at 4. This is gonna be 6. This is gonna be 5. And this is, well, you know, we have to calculate for the artillery. But yeah, so these are really gonna like do a lot to get rid of these 2 units over here. Which is a pretty good option. And if we do use the counterattack, then we can't actually order this line infantry here because it's actually in the center section. But we do get to move up the other units here and order the cavalry. So yeah, it's gonna be between these 2 cards. I don't know which one is better at this point. But also you have to keep in mind that, you know, there's like a, I guess, a expiration date on the counterattack, so to speak, because it only copies what's on the last turn. So right now it is capturing the assault right flank, and next turn is not going to be that, so it's kind of like, do you want to hope for a better card later? Or do you want to play what you have now? So that's another decision point that you have to consider, whether you want to use this or the fire and hold. Alright, let's see. If I were to use the counterattack, I'll most likely move up the light infantry to melee the light infantry to melee the Portuguese light, and then shoot at something with a light. But then the next turn, the British can actually do standing fire with this Portuguese light infantry, and it's just gonna be a lot of back and forth. And also it doesn't really allow me to do anything against the British line infantry in the middle, which is still kind of a problem because I only managed to get rid of the 1 block. So I think for now I might actually just do the fire and hold. This is probably the better option. Now that everything's kind of lined up, I can actually utilize this card to its maximum capacity right now with the 4 units that we highlighted earlier. So yeah, let's just do that. And counterattack can always, you know, copy something else. I mean, especially now that I'm pressuring the enemy to act on this flank. So it's probably not going to be as good as the assault, but it'll be something else that's relevant, I think. So yeah, let's just do the fire and hold on these 4 units. Okay, so the attack order, let's just start over here. I want to attack the British line infantry to photo depleted, and yeah, see, like this module also takes into account which command cards you play, so the +1 is already applied. I don't have to do any calculation at all. So it's 3 + 1 and then -1 for the forest. Yeah, it's so convenient. Okay, so we got 1 yet. And I think I want to use the artillery to attack this one. Cause yeah, true block is still gonna fire at 3. I think I want to further reduce the strength of this one, so I'm gonna attack it with 2 dice. And we got it down to 1. I think that's pretty reasonable. Reasonable for my next attack to focus on a different target, which is what I meant. And yeah, so here we're gonna actually use the light infantry to attack the Portuguese light infantry, so it's gonna be 5 dice. It's kind of sweet, so let's see what we have. Alright, so it takes 1 hit. And there's like an optional flag. In this case, I think I'm just not gonna ignore it because you already know that, you know, this line infantry is gonna attack again. So sometimes it's better to take a flag, especially when the opponent's command card tells you exactly what they're gonna do. So in this case, it's exactly gonna attack with a ranged combat with +1. So let's just deny them of this opportunity and just pull back a little bit. But this also kind of means that this British line infantry is kind of dead because there's nowhere to go now. But yeah, it's just something that you have to just weigh the pros and cons. I think this one's I'm kind of like giving up with this one anyway. And saving the light infantry is a little more flexible in the first place. So yeah, we'll just do that for now. Okay, and now the French turn is over. We'll draw a card at the end of the turn. And okay, French gets a right flank card, which is probably a good news for the British player. Alright, so let's move on to the next. Okay, so before we move on with the turn, I would just like to correct a misplay. Or I guess point out a misplay that I did last turn. When I fired with the 3 French infantries, I should have started from the left because the line infantry on the left had the least targets. And you already saw what happened when I went out of order and started shooting with the light infantry in the middle, which caused the enemy to retreat and my left line infantry losing the target. So yeah, I haven't played this for a very long time, so that was a mistake on my part. But yeah, I guess it also showed what you can do by accepting a flag voluntarily, just to exploit your opponent's mistakes. So I mean, I guess it was probably worth trying anyway. Oh, so on the British turn now, so we'll see what cards we can play. So we can use the progress line for the order in 2 units. Or we can actually use the leadership card. I think this is a pretty good time to use the leadership card because at least 2 of the troop leaders can actually do something now that we set up the artillery with the leader from the earlier turns. So I think I'm just gonna play this one. And yeah, so this module highlights all the leaders that we can order. So we're gonna start from this one with the horse artillery. We're gonna move and attack. We're gonna aim at this light cavalry, hopefully freeing up the line infantry we have, and we can unsquare and get the card back. And this line infantry is just gonna move forward. And then this one, let me think about it. 1, 2, 3. I think ideally I want to come here and try to attack the terminal line infantry again. But the problem with that is that I can't really retire and reform if I get meleeed because I don't have exactly 2 hexes backwards. So remember in this game you need exactly 2. It cannot be 1 like in Ancient's Evasion where, no, if there's just 1 you just take the 1, but in this game you actually cannot do that. So if you don't leave yourself enough hexes in the back, you just cannot perform this action at all. So I don't think I actually want to go this far. So I will most likely land it here between having adjacent to the left light infantry and the light infantry in the middle, so I can turn off both and maybe try to force a square with one of them. I think I'm gonna force a square with a light. Just it's gonna be 4 dice. I think it's reasonable. It's a 3+1 from the card. You know, again showing you how like the leadership card can actually be useful if you set it up correctly. So yeah, let's try doing that. Yeah, so this is the 4 dice, and the French side will have to form a square at this point because it's too much of a risk. And yeah, so the French lost the bombard card, which is not really a huge loss. And okay, so now the infantry will attack first as a square. So we'll roll the 1 die, and we got a bounce flag, which is not very good. So we have to go back over here. So we force the light into a square, but it doesn't really matter. They can just end square the very next turn now that the cavalry is no longer adjacent. So yeah, I mean, we tried, you know. Okay, so on the right, we're going to attack with the horse artillery against the enemy light cavalry on the right. It's going to be 3 dice, including the bonus that we get from the card. So we'll roll. And we don't hit. Wow, okay. I guess that's it. We can't really do much else. It's not really looking good for the British. We'll move on to the next turn. Okay, now back to the French. So the counterattack card that we plan to play in the previous turns actually doesn't really work this time because now it's just gonna copy the leadership card, which really doesn't do anything for us because both the leaders are all the way in the back. So yeah, we can't really do that. We can use the attack right or the cavalry charge. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm gonna use the attack right flank. Because now that in one of the previous turns we made the British light infantry retreat, then we can just try to exploit this side a little more. Yeah, let's do that. So attack right flank, we can only really order 2. And we'll try to form a square. Try to force the British light unit from forming a square. Into forming a square. And then we will shoot at the squared enemy light infantry. Then do I want to do that? Because the next turn they can actually end square if they... you know what? Let's just do that. It's probably gonna be okay. Because we're expecting to at least take off some blocks with this 3 dice. Let's see. Oh, okay. That's pretty good. It's actually... So take the hit, and I'll have to take the flag as another hit. So it actually lost 2 blocks. That was that's pretty good. So yeah, you gotta keep in mind that when you are in a square, unless you have a leader attached or some other effect that makes it ignore a flag, it's going to take all the flags as hits. Because the square can provide support but not receive it. So even if this is like fully supported with 2 adjacent friendly units, it's still gonna take. And this is particularly devastating for the armies that retreat more than 1 hex per flag. There's not that many of them in the base game, but in the expansions you will see. Like, for example, the Austrian battalion mass, even though it's like a really useful feature without having you going down a card to square. But once you roll a flag, it's kind of game over for them because they're just going to lose 2 blocks per flag. So anyway, yeah, that was productive. And then next we'll attack the enemy light infantry with the light cavalry, which is going to take away another card. Things are really good, looking good for the French. And let's see. Yeah, we took away the attack that flank card from them. And now the square will attack first. And it rose an infantry symbol, which doesn't hit, and the cavalry attacks back, and also doesn't hit. This is okay though. We took away 2 cards now, so it's just making good progress. And yeah, we really hope that we can draw something that allows us to move on the left. Let's see what we have at the end of turn. Okay, recon force. This is okay. Okay, so it's the British turn, and it's really strange that we haven't really had that many center cards all game, even though the deck has a pretty strong center tendency, and also the board. In terms of what the line dividers are, but it's yeah, it's really strange because otherwise I would actually want to move some of the center units, but whatever, it is what it is. Um, yeah, so I think it's better to do a left flank order so that I can at least unsquare this infantry and try to shoot back at the enemy light, and maybe move some of these units forward. Yeah, let's do that. So, no, whoops, I didn't mean to do this one. Okay, so to order this one, I will unsquare. I will return one of the cards to my hand, which is going to be helpful because this is, it's the right flank card, so it'll help in dealing with the French attack on the Portuguese flank. Okay, so if I stand and fire... Actually, how many is this gonna be? Let me just cheat a little here and just let them do the calculation for me. Okay, so it's gonna be 2, so I guess 3 minus 1 because of the river. Or I can actually move forward and... What is better right now? I guess the other thing I want to move is probably this, Okay, let's see what the other card that's being taken away is. It's... So definitely the first order I want it to go to, I wanted to go to the light infantry to unsquare it. And then the second order is probably gonna be the cavalry. Yeah, we'll just move the cavalry into the river. And then I'll actively try to attack with the light infantry, hoping that I can get the card back next turn. Okay, alright. So let's do this one first. It's gonna be a 1-die attack from the square. And I don't hit. And the battling back takes out 1 black. Okay, that was unfortunate, but you know, it was an attempt. Now light infantry standing fire against... I mean, sorry, light infantry fighting, firing against the French light infantry with 2. And we miss. Alright, let's just, move on with this. Yeah, and hope we draw something nice. Scout, it's okay. Well, at least now we have both of the rifle cards back. So in the next features, we can probably do something with that. Alright, I think, yeah, I'll end the turn right now. Okay, now back to the French. The new card that we drew last turn, Recon Force, is actually really nice. I'm hoping to score 2 victory points with the play of this one card this turn. So I'll show you how I want to do this. So on the right side, I'll order the light infantry. It's going to do a setting fire, hopefully eliminating the enemy light infantry in the river with 5 dice. And then on the left, I'll also order the light infantry on this side. I will unsquare it and shoot at one of the 2 possible targets. As for the center, do I want to, actually, I'm gonna move out the... Yeah, actually, I'm gonna move out the line infantry and melee, the 1 block enemy line infantry, and then I will, use the, line infantry to shoot at the cavalry. I think that's probably the better move. Okay, alright, let's do this. So first I will, unsquare the light infantry, we'll get the card back. I mean, not that it's very useful because the bombard, but hey, you know, and square is good. So, well, actually, yeah. Unsquare, yes, because sorry, I accidentally click on the attack marker. Um, so now we're doing things in the correct way. So I'll move this one up. And yeah, so move on to attack phase. I will attack the light infantry in the forest, which will most likely take it out. We'll roll 3 dice. And yes, we score our first victory point. But I don't think I want to advance though, because, yeah. So, use the light infantry to attack the enemy light cavalry. It's gonna be 5 dice. We get 1 hit. And then we'll do the automatic leader casualty check. And it survives. Okay, now we move on to the right side. Light infantry attacking the enemy line infantry with 5 dice. And we also take it out. Okay, that was productive. So we're almost halfway there on the French side. So we'll draw a card and pass the turn. Okay, so back to the British. I do kind of want to move the light cavalry on the Portuguese side just because now, like, literally 3 things can fire at it with the maximum amount of dice. And it cannot retire and reform because it's not a melee attack, and the French definitely has the option to not do melee attack and just try to like keep firing stuff in its face, and it only has 2 blocks, so it's kind of a dire situation there. But then again, on the right side, the high-paid cavalry is now in the river because the previous turn I tried to plan to force the light into going into a square. So I think I might just want to do this instead. Just because it sounds a little more proactive play, and also I get to play the scout left flank, and hopefully I can get some relevant cards out of this. So yeah, I think this is what I'm gonna play. Gonna order the heavy cavalry, and we'll try to attack the French light with 4 dice, which so the French is holding the first strike, which kind of encourages it to use it in stuff instead of using a square. Because it's a full strength unit, it's actually a good time to use the first strike. Let's just do that now instead of forming a square. It's a little less useful if the cavalry is trying to force a square against one of your depleted units, but because this is a full strength, we'll just try our luck with this. So it's gonna be 4 dice for the French first. Okay, so we're taking off 1 block. And now the British will roll 3. And also taking off 1. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good trade, actually. Right, so the French player will draw a card to replenish the first strike. And then the British will end this turn. Oh, so now we have to choose between attack story center versus counter attack. I think I might actually take the center now, just because I kind of do want to move the center, and I actually have 2 cards that are for the right, so it's probably okay. I'm going to take the attack center for now. And yeah, and this ends the turn. Okay, so for the French side, I think what I want to do is to use attack left flank. There's a move I've been wanting to try, so I'm just going to show you how it works. So we're going to order 3 units. We'll take the light cavalry, light infantry, and the line infantry. And yeah, so we'll move the infantries forward. So ideally we want to melee the light cavalry, and then it will retire and reform. But in this case, we actually have a way to stop them from doing that, just because we have this 2-block light cavalry. I mean, once it gets depleted down to 2 blocks, it's not exactly that great at forcing the opponents to form squares. But you can still use it to cut off enemy retreats with the 3 hexes. I mean, we can try to just move into the forest hex. Even though they cannot attack, it actually cuts off the retire and reform path for the enemy cavalry. So in this case, we can be pretty confident that we're gonna take out the enemy light cavalry and hopefully take a shot at the leader as well. So yeah, let's start with the melee attack from the light infantry. Because the light infantry's range is stronger, so in case we do eliminate this, we also get a shot from the light infantry against the Portuguese light infantry. So yeah, let's do that. 6 would be 4 dice. Let's see what we have. Okay, it's just 1 block, and then we'll do the leader check. Leader survives, and it can ignore the flag. And then it will battle back with 1 die, and it misses. Okay, now the light infantry will also melee against the light cavalry with 4 dice. And yeah, and as expected, it's taking it out. And then we'll do the leader check. And leader survives, so leader will move back here on the line infantry. And we actually don't want to advance because the next turn I can choose what to do. Right now, neither of the Portuguese light infantries can do a ranged attack because of the cavalry that's adjacent to them. So that's like another use of cavalry when it's less relevant in terms of strength, but just keep in mind that, you know, the mobility is still very useful in supporting your other units. So this is just one example of that. Yes, I think that's pretty productive for this turn, and now we're at 3 victory points for the French. Kind of on our way into winning the scenario, I believe, and we'll draw the card and end the turn. Okay, so for the British turn, we'll just play one of these right flank probe cards, because we kind of have to react on this side before we get run over. So we'll order the 2 Portuguese light infantries, and we will move them forward to a melee position, at the same time blocking the retreat of the light cavalry, even though we might not actually attack it this turn just because the infantries are more of a threat right now. So there's a couple reasons for doing this. First, it's blocking the retreat for the light cavalry, giving us the option to attack it. And also because we really want to get rid of the Skid Nickel Steel card, and that's just not really useful. It's going to stay dead in our hands unless we get close to the enemies. So yes, and then the first attack we're gonna do is against the terminal light infantry, hopefully forcing a retreat so we're not adjacent to everybody. Well, we'll see. So 4 dice will roll. Wow, that's unfortunate. It only got rid of 1. Well, at least that's on a hill, so the counterattack's only 3. And of course, you know, the French is taken out too. Let's see, what do I want to do with this one? Let's just attack the same target, because they're gonna be melee at 4 anyway. So yeah, these 2 adjacent units are gonna attack at the same number of dice. So we're gonna roll 4, hopefully we get something good. Oh, nice, okay. Alright, so nice, we take it out completely. That is very nice. And now we have our first victory points. It's kind of late to the party, but you know, it's something. Let's see what we draw at the end of the turn. And it's a left side card. Okay. Whatever. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for this turn, I think it'll come down to whether I want to do a cavalry charge or the flank attack. If I were to do a cavalry charge, the light cavalry on the right can try to take out the heavy cavalry. It's gonna be a 4 attack, I guess 5 attack against 2 block unit. It's actually pretty likely. And on the left, I can also move the light cavalry out and do a 3 dice attack against the Portuguese light infantry if I manage to move it around. So it's gonna be on the same hill platform. And I mean, obviously it's gonna try to form a square, so it's not gonna take it out. But that's still something to pressure on this side. But this doesn't really address the issue of the 4-block line infantry. The 4-block Portuguese line infantry on the left, though. So even though it's going to push us closer to 5 victory points, it's not actually going to get us there on this turn. So I think it's actually a little bit better if we just try to weaken this full strength Portuguese line infantry this turn. So I think I'm not going to do the cavalry charge this turn, and instead I'm going to use the flank attack so that I can move the 2 infantries on the left and then the 2 units on the right. So for this one, I will let's think about this. Okay, so I think I'm gonna move into the forest and then melee because keep in mind light infantries can attack on forest entry. And the number of dice that I get attacked by from the enemy horse artillery, I think it's actually going to be the same in either of these squares. Let's see. So it's going to be 3, 2, and 1. So it's going to be 1 against the blank hex. It's going to be 2 against the forest. The forest has a -1 for the artillery, so it's going to be 1 either way. So I'm not actually exposing myself more to the enemy artillery, but at the same time I kind of get a terrain bonus for other things. So yeah, so I'm gonna do the melee combat after I move into the forest as opposed to doing it where it starts off from. And then what do I want to do with the light cavalry? I can keep pressuring the square. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's obviously when I do this, I risk getting the bass leg. Do I have any other options than this one? Actually, I'm just not gonna attack. I'm just gonna order it and not make you do anything. Just keep where it is. I think this is fine. And then on this side, I'll just move over here and try to attack the Portuguese full strength line infantry. Okay. Alright, so first let's attack the heavy cavalry. I think it's a pretty reasonable thing for the British to do retire and reform. So we're gonna do that. It's gonna be rolling 3 dice. So it gets 1 hit. We'll move back 2 hexes. And it's pretty much out of the game now at this point. It's just unfortunate. And okay, so we'll move on to the left side. Well, first, once again, attack with the unit with the less options. So it's gonna be 4 dice against this full strength Portuguese unit. Oh wow, we don't get anything. It's actually gonna just ignore the flag and attack back. Okay, so we take 1 hit. And 1 retreat. Alright, I guess now the light infantry is going to try to do the same thing, and hopefully it'll do better with the 4 dice. And yes, so it takes 1 hit. Leader casualty check. Oh, it actually failed leader casualty check. So now the leader bonus doesn't really apply. It has to retreat the two hexes. Well, that's unfortunate for the British player, but yeah. See, do I want to advance? No, not really. Okay, that was kind of crazy. So now we're only 1 victory point away from the French winning. So we'll draw the card and pass the turn. Okay, looks like the British kind of lost this one, but we'll still try to do our best. to see what can help us in the situation right now. We can continue to use the probe right flank card in order to units. And let's see, if we were to do this, we can attack the. I mean, at this point, running away isn't really an option because everything is so close right now. The French could just chase and melee the next turn anyway. So if we bring things closer, I mean, the range attack is gonna suck, and also because the light cavalry is here, the range attack from the light and light infantry from the baseline is actually not gonna be available. Though we can move the light infantry forward, but that's only gonna attack with 2 dice. So 2 plus 2, I mean, that might be something, but yeah, actually, we might want to do that. The other option is to give him the cold steel with the 3 melee on this versus 2 plus 1 melee. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a gamble either way. So we're down to 3 melee dice versus 2 melee dice plus 2 range dice. I think at the end of the day, the order right flank is gonna pay off a little more. So let's just do this. So it's gonna be this, the light, the line infantry and the light infantry. And yeah, so we'll attack with this one first. It's gonna be a 2 melee dice. And we don't get anything. And we're gonna be counterattacked by 3, and we lose 1. And we'll attack with the 2 range dice. Okay, at least that's, so we're getting rid of 1 block and then have to retreat 1. But either way, I think we're gonna lose the next turn anyway, so let's just pass the turn and, yeah, see what happens. Well, it looks like I misplay at the last turn as well. So the attack order is actually kind of tricky in this game. In the last one, I should have actually attacked with the light infantry first, just because the line infantry was going to melee. So you want it to reduce its risk of being counterattacked by more blocks. So you kind of want to whittle it down a little bit by the light infantry first. So so I guess I thought that the line infantry had fewer attack targets, but then again, if you think about it, even if the French light infantry retreats, it's going to open up the line of sight towards the other unit. Actually, no, because the what do you call it? It can always attack the light cavalry on the top. Yeah, it cannot actually do the range, sorry. So yeah, but either way, it's probably better to try to reduce the number of blocks from the light infantry first before you attack it. So yeah, attacking with the with the attack order is like a little more tricky than the other game, just because you actually have to take into account of the situation. So I think that was technically in this play, because if I attacked in a different order, the Portuguese light infantry is probably not going to suffer so much. Well, anyway, so on to the French players' turns. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We can just play the counter attack and copy the enemy with right flank cards, become the left flank card. So we're just gonna order the 2 units. I guess technically if the last turn the British plays the cold steel, they can't really copy it this turn. But usually I don't try to play around counterattacks just because, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's just like one smaller thing. If it happens, it kind of sucks, but I don't think you can actually play around it without knowing exactly what's in the other player's hands. So if you're playing fair in a solo playthrough, like, you wouldn't really take that into account, which is what happens in a real game. So yeah, now we're gonna have these 2 units moving up, and then we'll just try to close this game. This is 2, and we hit, and the game ends, and the French side wins. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the playthrough. I hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, I try to go through the thought process of the game action that I take for each side, and hopefully that was enjoyable and not too long. I'll try to be a little faster in my future ones. But yeah, so let me know if you have any questions or comments. I know I probably did quite a few misplays in this one just because it's been a while, but I'll try to get better in my later uploads. So yeah, feel free to join my Discord. I will put the link in the description. So by the way, I have a Discord for all the Commands and Color games, and you can find people to play your games with, and just have general discussions about any of the games in the series. And also check out the Vassal module made by Mark Benson. I'll also put the link down there. It's just a really amazing module, as you've seen in this playthrough, that a lot of the things are just really, really convenient for the players to play online. So definitely check that one out. And if you have any games you would like me to do playthroughs with in this series, just feel free to let me know or join the Discord and let me know. Either way, and I'll be happy to go through those games with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.